A very important aspect of health that gets overlooked is sleep apnea. So a lot of people, they snore, and generally we joke about it, we laugh about it, but snoring and sleep apnea is not a laughing matter. So anybody who, when they are sleeping, they make a noise or they open their mouth, it tells you that their breathing is compromised and needs to be addressed. And in the long run, if somebody's got sleep apnea and they don't do anything about it, there are health consequences. A good example is dementia. Somebody who has had sleep apnea, let's say for 10-15 years, they can end up with dementia. So what happens is that when you are snoring and basically you are breathing through your mouth, that means that that action becomes a sympathetic action. That means it's the part of the autonomic nervous system which is about the flight and fight. You no longer on the other side where it is very parasympathetic. So in other words, that's where you can breathe nicely, you regenerate, you're repairing tissues, and just generally that's the healthier part, because what happens with the sympathetic system, it only needs to happen for a short time, and if we are in the sympathetic for a very long time, there are consequences. So in other words, you are snoring the whole night, let's say 8 hours. That means you are in the sympathetic, you are in the fight flight zone for very long, and the body was never designed to do that. So what that means is you're producing all these stress hormones, particularly cortisol, and producing cortisol over a long time is quite problematic. Apart from the fact that when you've got low levels of oxygen because you're breathing through your mouth, there are a lot of things that get compromised, because every cell in the body, including your brain, needs oxygen. If you're producing high levels of cortisol, what that means is that you are also going to be producing sugar. How this happens is that when there is high levels of cortisol, the liver starts making sugar. It's called gluconeogenesis, and that sugar circulates. So it's almost like the person is sleeping but they are eating. And you find that people that have got sleep apnea, they will grow a very big belly, and society calls it a beer belly. But sometimes if you go into the history, this person doesn't even drink, and if they drink, they don't even drink that much. So that is a belly that's growing because of sleep apnea. And what happens when you've got sleep apnea, the following day you become very insulin resistant, because basically you haven't slept and you produce these high levels of insulin. You become insulin resistant. That means on top of the beer belly that you are building, you are also going to gain weight. So what's important is, like, what's causing your sleep apnea? In many cases, it could be because the person has got food intolerances. So let's just say, take an example of gluten or dairy. If you're consuming that and you are intolerant to those two foods, it means that your airways here, they can be swollen, and so breathing through the nose becomes difficult because of the swelling of the mucosal lining. So your option is now to breathe through your mouth. So it's important that sometimes to get rid of sleep apnea, you have to get rid of foods that are causing you, to inflame the airways. Okay, and if you're not sure if you've got sleep apnea, you need to do a sleep study. Okay, you can start by monitoring your sleep, using, like a Fitbit, so that you just got an idea of your sleep. But ultimately, this is an important test that you might need to take, the sleep study. And the beauty is now these days you can do it in the comfort of your own home, where you get an equipment set up and you get connected to this machine. In the morning, the information can be read from the machine. Because unlike things that are very obvious, like that if you drink a lot of alcohol, that's not good. But what people don't realize, that if you breathing through your mouth every night, and producing all these hormones, producing belly fat. So remember, I said you make sugar from the liver, and this sugar is gonna build a very big tummy. So you've got what's called visceral fat. So that's fat that's happening in the belly area, and that fat is not just a benign organ. It becomes a very inflammatory organ because it produces all these hormones called interleukins. Okay, so these are inflammatory molecules, and they don't just stay there, they circulate, and when they circulate, they can also cause you to have things like joint pain, joint stiffness. You can have insomnia, and some people will even have, headaches and migraines. So as you can see, the downstream effects of breathing through your mouth are just too many, and you just don't want to ignore this. And some people will end up needing, a machine, a CPAP machine to help them. But sometimes it's just about what is causing this person to breathe through their mouth instead of breathing through the nose. And in many cases, it's got to do with food intolerances. And again, these food intolerances come about because the person has got a gut issue. So can you see that everything is very, very connected? A person has got a gut issue, they've got food intolerances, and these food intolerances are not only affecting the gut lining, the mucosal lining, but they're also affecting the mucosal lining in the lungs, in the nose, in the sinuses. So there is a very big connection there. And to address sleep apnea, sometimes you have to do it through addressing your gut. But basically, this is a situation where you can't just ignore it. It's more than just a noise that you're making. There is very bad biology that's happening if you are breathing through your mouth instead of breathing through your nose. If you found this information interesting and helpful, please like this video, subscribe so that you don't miss any gut-wise tips.